We are in a new dawn of gender and sex complexity, where those who don't fit into a simple binary are meant to be seen with humanity. It's a real hot-button issue in this country right now, a culture war issue. The critics are saying that gender-affirming care is nothing more than woke doctors and woke parents and activists manipulating confused children into mutilations and life-altering. Welcome to The Daily Show. I am your host, Jon Stewart, and you're... You know what? Come here. Come here. Come here! Welcome to the resistance.
Jon Stewart is a renowned comedian, writer, producer, and political commentator, best known as the host of The Daily Show. Stewart has built a reputation for using humor to address controversial topics and spark critical conversations. One of his most compelling moments came when he brutally challenged woke culture on live television.
He may have meant it rhetorically. But if you remember, the last time that we spoke, it was midnight on election night. And it seemed even at that moment very clear Donald Trump had won the election in a bit of a thumpening. Now, part of the disorientation of the Democrats losing the electoral vote.
Stewart started his argument by addressing a fundamental concept that has divided society: the idea that human identity is defined by a simple binary, male and female. He questioned why this black and white perspective is so deeply ingrained. Using his sharp humor, Stewart highlighted how rigid interpretations of gender have fueled an ongoing culture war.
We are in a new dawn of gender and sex complexity, where those who don't fit into a simple binary are meant to be seen with humanity. It wasn't always like this, people. As recently as, let's say, the 1990s, early 2000s, people were making shitty, reductive jokes about the subject.
The debate over gender-affirming care is one of the most polarizing topics in this discussion. Critics argue that it's driven by woke ideologies, claiming that parents and doctors are encouraging children to make life-altering decisions based on fleeting feelings. Stewart dissected this viewpoint, emphasizing the complexity of gender identity and the challenges of navigating it.
That last guy sounded like it's an emergency and we're running out of genders. Everyone, there ain't but two genders. I don't want to have to start rationing genders. The point is clear. The human race is defined by a simple binary, a black and white understanding. There are men and there are women.
Hey, real quick, if you're enjoying this content and want more insights like this, hit subscribe and help us reach these topics to a wider audience. Thank you for the support. Now, let's jump back in. Critics, such as commentator Ben Shapiro, have been vocal about their concerns. Shapiro's position is rooted in what he calls objective science, insisting that gender is strictly biological. Stewart, however, countered this narrative by questioning why science is being weaponized to dismiss the lived experiences of individuals.
What a cruise line buffet of the gradients in American gender expression. Turns out there's a lot of non-binary shit happening between the binaries. But that hasn't stopped the traditionalists from deploying their newest weapon in the culture war arsenal, the obvious gotcha question.
Stewart argued that while some critics frame gender-affirming care as experimental or harmful, they ignore the fact that many medical professionals are deeply committed to improving the lives of their patients. He explored the idea that critics often misrepresent the motivations of doctors, framing them as profit-driven or politically motivated.
It's a real hot-button issue in this country right now, a culture war issue. The critics are saying that gender-affirming care is nothing more than woke doctors and woke parents and activists manipulating confused children into mutilations and life-altering experimental drug therapies. Now, you both have children. What's your experience been with this?
One of the most contentious aspects of the debate is whether children should have autonomy in decisions about their gender identity. Advocates of woke culture argue that children are the best judges of their own experiences. Stewart shared a story of a parent who described their journey of understanding their transgender child, emphasizing how listening transformed their relationship.
Now, generally, that is where the energy for the push against gender-affirming care is coming from. The people in your life, knowing what you went through, knowing what your child went through, did that dent their belief system in any way?
I wish I could say it did. We were the most conservative out of all the families in our friend group with kids at preschool and everything. But when we said this is who our child is, we lost all of our friends.
Yet, Stewart didn't shy away from the hard questions. He asked whether society needs to be more quick to grant children decision-making power in such significant matters. Why, he wondered, are children trusted to define their gender, but not allowed to make other major decisions, like voting or choosing where to live?
But I imagine that the cancellation of one Harrison Butker was swift and unforgiving at the White House.
What I can say is we invite the entire team, and we do that always. I don't have anything beyond that.
Aha! You wokerati at the communist... Wait, well, I'm sorry, what was that? What did you... He can still go to the White House and be on his football team, and all that's really happened is some people roasted him on TikTok?
Transitioning from gender debates, Stewart tackled the broader topic of cancel culture, which he humorously rebranded as relentless culture. He argued that what people often label as cancel culture is simply an increase in accountability. Thanks to the internet, everyone now has a platform to voice their opinions, creating an environment where dissent is louder than ever.
Of course, nothing about the right-wing reaction is surprising, because the idea that there is an all-pervasive, all-powerful threat to free speech called cancel culture has become a central tenet of modern conservatism. They celebrate their being silenced at conferences. They celebrate their being silenced on podcasts and streaming outlets. They celebrate their being silenced with over 700 book titles.
Stewart emphasized that this isn't inherently negative. Instead, it reflects a shift in how society engages with opposing views. However, he acknowledged the darker side of this phenomenon, how relentless criticism can destroy livelihoods and reputations.
Have you never been on the internet before? Because that's all it is. It's just people giving each other shit all the time. I mean, my God, you're all so thin-skinned. Look, Jerry Seinfeld took more shit over the past 2 weeks promoting a Pop-Tart movie than Harrison Butker did for his entire speech. And I ask you, people...
Stewart delved into the role of the internet in exacerbating cultural divides. He argued that social media platforms are designed to amplify conflict, making it easy for people to provoke strong reactions. This, he suggested, is one of the ways woke culture has gained traction, often at the expense of civil discourse.
Unless you don't know, nobody reads anymore. And by the way, if you already read A War on Woke and Woke Inc., you're really not going to learn anything from woke warriors.
He also critiqued corporations for pandering to social movements like LGBTQ+ rights. Highlighting the commercialization of Pride Month, Stewart humorously called out brands for their shallow attempts to appear progressive. For example, he mocked companies like Burger King for marketing gimmicks that trivialize important issues.
His ignorant pronouncements are somehow a sign of great character. It's like where I grew up when people go like, hey, look, no disrespect. I'm not saying your mother's a whore, I'm saying, and you're like, I think that's what you're saying.
The difference is he would just say your mother's a whore.
Right, but when he says, people are so nervous. See, here's what's so amazing about this. So the whole idea of political correctness is everybody's so sensitive. Just get over it.
Stewart's take on political correctness has evolved over the years. 8 years ago, he argued that being sensitive to others' struggles was a matter of basic decency. Back then, he pushed for empathy. challenging those who dismissed issues like systemic racism as overreactions.
Years of systemic racism creating economic disparity. Come on. I'm not a slave owner. Donald Trump couldn't handle us making a joke about him. Vanity Fair, Graydon Carter did a joke about Donald Trump's hands 25 years ago. He's still not over it.
Today, Stewart maintains this stance, but acknowledges that the push for political correctness can sometimes feel overwhelming. He believes that true progress comes from understanding and mutual respect rather than forcing conformity to one set of beliefs.
All he's saying is they're evil and shouldn't be allowed in this country. He's just telling it like it is. But God forbid you say happy holidays in December. It's f***ing war.
One of Stewart's most compelling moments came when he addressed the importance of courage in expressing political beliefs. He encouraged individuals to stay true to their convictions, even in the face of backlash. For him, courage is about balancing openness to new ideas with steadfastness in one's principles.
But Donald Trump is returning to power, and so once again it is time to saddle up la résistance. Because, if you remember, before Trump won the election, Democrats were clear-eyed about the stakes.
He also acknowledged that the world has changed significantly in recent years. While the internet has democratized speech, it has also created new challenges, such as the spread of misinformation and the pressure to conform to popular opinions.
You bastards! Now, I assume now that the Democrats have lost to the greatest threat we've ever faced as a nation, that they will be forthright in acknowledging, one, the Democrats' role in this catastrophic defeat, and two, the bleak hellscape we now face.
Unlike many commentators, Stewart doesn't align strictly with the left or right. His approach is rooted in personal conviction and a commitment to calling out wrongs, regardless of who is responsible. Through his humor and insight, he challenges audiences to think critically about complex issues.
Almost is doing a lot of work in that sentence. Yeah, we almost gained back all we had lost. Almost is kind of a load-bearing adverb, spin-wise, finding a positive in what is clearly not good news. You can't, parents, good news, we gained back almost all of the children we lost on the field trip.
Jon Stewart's critique of woke culture goes beyond surface-level arguments. He invites us to explore the nuances of social issues, encouraging empathy, accountability, and open dialogue. Jon's perspective is a refreshing reminder that humor can be a powerful tool for sparking meaningful change. What do you think of Jon Stewart's take on these issues? Do you agree with him, or is he crossing the line? Let us know in the comments below, and remember to leave a like and subscribe to our channel if you found this content valuable. Thank you, and see you in the next video.